Justin Roiland, I think it's the co-creator of Rick and Morty, is Sussy Baka. That's probably inappropriate given the circumstances. But people were asking me to cover it, and I was like, I'll wait for somebody else to compile everything together in a nice video format. And then I saw that Nine Amber did it, so I was like, okay, well, don't call me Papa Gut, call me Lazy Gut. So yeah, it's called The Justin Roiland Accusations Are Worse Than You Thought. Rick and Morty creator. Very interesting. Thank you, Raquel, for celebrating good times. I needed this stream. Love you. Love you too. Thank you so much. So let's get this party started, huh?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to begin this video with a pretty standard question of, when's this going to end? When's this going to stop? No, I'm not talking about your dad's trip to the milk market. I'm, of course, speaking about every single week there seems to be this trend now of...
My dad didn't go to the milk market. My dad just explicitly left, and then showed back up in the hospital and then left again. So
somebody in Hollywood who created something which a lot of people seem to absolutely adore gets exposed or gets charged with something absolutely horrific. And of course, ladies and gentlemen...
Bro, you know what it is? It's the Matrix, right? There must be a Matrix. Am I right, guys?
Gentlemen, yes, it's happened again. Allow me to introduce you to Justin Roiland. Now, some of you may know who this man is, some of you may not. Allow me to judge your mind. Pretty much, Justin Roiland is the co-creator of family household beloved character Pickle Rick. Yeah, now...
I will say, one thing that's annoying is I don't know where I could watch season 6 of Rick and Morty, because I have Hulu and everything, but I can't find it. But now I don't even know if I'm allowed to watch it anymore, because this is pretty massive. The accusations seem pretty messed up. I think he actually got charged for something too.
I'm not going to speak about the law and crimes this little thing right here is committed. In fact, the creation alone of Pickle Rick was indeed a crime, but alas, yes, fair, Justin Roiland was recently charged with 2 felonies. Justin Roiland, co-creator and star of animated comedy Rick and Morty, is facing felony domestic violence charge related to an incident in January 2020. It just feels like this is happening every...
So what, he hit his wife or something? That's pretty messed up.
Every week. Can somebody in Hollywood just be a nice person? But what is that too much to ask?
Apparently, yes, it is. I mean, Tom Hanks seems like a nice guy. And, what's the other guy's name? Adam from Girls. You know what I'm talking about? I like him a lot. He was fake Darth Vader.
Please, can you just stop? Roiland has been charged with 1 count of domestic battery with corporal injury and 1 count of false imprisonment by menace, violence, fraud, and / or deceit. And if
Jesus, I will say, because again, innocent until proven guilty, but I will say that somebody who gets arrested for something, all right, is a little more. It's a little different than just getting a Twitter accusation, right? I've been saying that about Andrew Tate, and we have to keep it consistent for here as well.
Convicted of these charges, Justin Roiland could actually be facing up to several years in prison. And in 2020.
I'm going to prison, Morty! It didn't work. It didn't go very well. But you get the gist. Imagine he said that. I'm going to prison. I can't do it. I can't do his voice. It's a really cringe moment.
He did actually pay a $50,000 bond. And my friends, I do have to quickly clarify here that yes, the man hasn't been found guilty yet. But also, even if...
Well, he may never be found guilty. That doesn't even mean he didn't do it. But I'm not saying that... I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying... So yeah, anyway.
He's not found guilty based on some of the things that we're going to go into. Basically, it's not looking good. Because, my friends, this situation is absolutely everywhere. So many people are speaking about this at the moment, and it's actually created like a bit of a snowball, because with this one situation right here...
If I was able to pull off the voice, it wouldn't have come off as cringe. It would have been like, oh my God, he actually did the voice. I just went for it. I've never practiced before, though, but, here's the thing, is that you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, am I right? So.
It's actually led to even more allegations coming out to do with Justin Roiland. And of course, one of these particular allegations does delve into the territory of a lot of people in Hollywood just can't stop themselves from...
it's the kitty cats.
Doing this particular task, which they will just seem to fail at. And of course, that task is not messaging children. They really seem to struggle at that one. Because yes, there is now an absolute plethora of people coming out and speaking against Justin Roiland, saying that when they were around the ages of 16, 35-year-old Justin Roiland was sending them extremely inappropriate messages. And ladies and gentlemen, whilst the charge and these allegations alone are absolutely horrific, I do have to, break the sad news that it doesn't end here. No. Today we're going to be going down a pit of hell. This descent in this video that we're going to be taking is honestly one of the more terrifying things. Some of the things that I found doing research for this video is honestly just kind of shocking. I'm kind of confused to how this man...
I didn't really hear about the messages to young people anywhere else. Like I did like a little bit of looking into this before, So this is like that's new for me seeing that.
Has managed to not even receive a slight ounce of criticism from the major public. It's kind of been things that have been swept under the rug and now are only really resurfacing. I'm genuinely confused to this, but alas.
Wait, let me just re-listen to what he said. I think I heard what he said. I just want to
has managed to not even receive. Just kind of shocking. I'm kind of confused to how this man has managed to not even receive a slight.
Okay, yeah. So the reason that he probably didn't receive criticism more than anything else is because Justin Roiland isn't really a person in the same way other people are. So, like if Justin Roiland is like the creator of Rick and Morty, and people do know who he is, but he's not quite. I don't know how to. He's more of his works than he is of a person. Like you see him at like you'll probably see him at events, or maybe not anymore. But he hasn't been like a super established. This is just my theory, I guess. A super established individual. He's more of like, oh, it's the creator of Rick and Morty. He's a little bit more faceless. I know people know of his face, but it's like the same as any other like writer or director of a Hollywood film or anything else. It's that like, yeah, we know that the person exists. We see what their face looks like, but he's not the face of his brand. Like Rick and Morty is the face of his brand. It's the same thing as like a VTuber who might like fucking molest little kids, but nobody really knows who they are or what they look like, versus somebody who has like a face and like their brand is their face. That's what I'm trying to say. Like when your brand is your face is more where I'm trying to say with this. That's really more what it is.
Really resurfacing. I'm genuinely confused to this, but alas, it's going to be a pretty messed up one because this situation is far worse than we originally thought. Ooh. And yes, it is quite ironic that the creator of Pickle Rick has seemingly got himself into a right old pickle. But yes, my friends, the first thing that we need to do right now is, yes, take a look at the main allegation that I did just mention that everybody has been speaking about at the moment. But before I do that, I do want to be a little bit shameless here and say that YouTube recently have been absolutely horrific. They have been age restricting me, demonetizing me, and that's not really like a massive problem, but when it keeps on happening, it's getting a little bit worrying. So I can only ask if you could, one, subscribe because that will help me out, but also just to like and interact with this video, comment down below, because this is very important information that we're speaking about today, and I would love this video to actually get out there to a lot of people. But YouTube, with all of their new rules and everything, it's becoming increasingly more difficult. So please, for the love of God, just interact with this video, and if you want to be even better than that, just subscribe. Thank you very much. Let's get into this main allegation. The charges against Justin for domestic violence. Pretty much this, as I said, is the most spoken about case when it comes to Justin, and obviously it has led to a response from Justin himself, as his representatives pretty much came out very confidently when it came to these allegations, and they actually said that there is no overstating how inaccurate the recent media coverage of the situation in the last few weeks has been. And to be clear, not only is Justin innocent, but they also have every expectation that this matter is on course to have been dismissed once the district attorney's office has completed their review of the evidence, and they look forward to clearing Justin's name.
So in general, the way that lawyers work is that they're going to argue from a place of like absolute innocence for the most part. Then like the other lawyers will argue from the complete opposite case. This is how normally court issues work. So the truth is somewhere in the middle. Maybe they are confident that they're getting out, or maybe they're just trying to sway public opinion to have some kind of an impact on the case, because public opinion will have impact on cases like this. We could pretend that like their public opinion didn't have any impact on something like the Johnny Depp trial, but it does. It changes the public's mind in some capacity. That's kind of the whole point in some of these instances. I'm not saying like that Johnny Depp is a bad guy or anything. I'm just saying that that is a factor on it. And so, I mean, I don't know which one it is. I have no idea. Maybe he is innocent. I really don't know. The one thing I will say, which is good, is that it's going to court. And that's where, things are supposed to be kind of fleshed out or sussed out or whatever you want to say. Not the Among Us sus, just the traditional sus. Try to, whatever. You get my point. And so, like, whatever happens in court happens in court. We weren't there. I don't really know the specifics on the situation. I don't know who the person is. I thought it was his wife, but I could just be absolutely wrong. I'm not entirely sure who the allegations are from. So yeah.
And of course, my friends, this is probably what any attorney is going to say in literally any situation, because I mean, if they don't say that, then their client's probably going to get locked up. But the thing is
for sure. And then and that's it. I'm not trying to justify what Justin did, because again, I don't know the specifics. But that's why I'm watching the video. But the lawyer office is also going to be as intense against the allegations as possible too. They're going to hype it up as much as they can, and then try to meet in the middle potentially. Or versus like Justin, who's going to downplay it. Or it's possible that the whoever's suing him, I think it's whatever, anyway, that they might be accurate. But it's kind of like a little bit of a law game back and forth. Like I said, it's good that it's going to court. That's the best part
Something's
about
a little bit suspicious, because when you scroll further down in the article, it does actually say that a reported protective order was filed against Roiland in 2020, which prohibited Roiland from being within 100 feet of the person that filed that protective order. And my
Okay, so hold on a second.
prohibited.
How does filing a protective order work? If you're a victim of violence, you can file a petition for a temporary protective order. A protective order restrains the accused person is known as... Okay. So my question here, and it's an honest question, is when they say that they filed a protective order, did the protective order go through? Okay, so they reported that they filed a protective order, because you could file, I think you could file anything, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it goes through. It's not immediately clear who filed it. The order prohibits Roiland from being within 100 feet. Okay, maybe it did get filed through of the person. He's also been ordered not to harass, threaten, or surveil a person and turn over any firearms he may have owned. Okay, interesting. Well.
Being with 100 feet of the person that filed that protective order. And my friends, I've never claimed to be a legal law expert. I don't have any qualifications in that field, but I do just think from like a regular human perspective, it would be a little bit suspicious to randomly file a protective order against somebody of that magnitude for no specific reason. I feel like there has to be some reasoning there, but based on the attorney's words in that article, you wouldn't think anything has happened. You'd think this man is completely guilt-free, but then you do just have to ask the question of, well, why was a protective order filed against this guy?
Good question.
To me, it is just very suspicious, and this is the first act of, well, I say to be fair, this is like the third act of suspicion so far. But my friends, even if this man is cleared on the charges that he's received, that doesn't necessarily void the things that we're speaking about today, and void the fact that there is a lot of sussy-wutty things out there, and I do have to kind of...
An order of protection is different from a restraining order? Okay. Okay. In order to file an order of protection, you have to have a police report. Is that
reiterate
true?
the fact that there have been a lot of cases in Hollywood where people have been exposed for being horrible people, and yet they did not end up in a jail cell. Some of your favorite people out there have actually signed petitions to protect certain awful people in Hollywood, and these things just never really get spoken about.
I'm just trying to get down to like trying to see, you know, if I'm trying to make sure that like the order was actually to be adhered to. And not that they're using like dishonest wording. Because if they're like, yeah, they filed a protective order, like this is where I'm coming from. Like, let's say they said like, yeah, he filed a protective order against him, and it would say that it said that he had to stay 100 feet away from this person. But like, if the order was rejected, then I'm like, okay, so that it was filed, but then that would need media sensationalization, or which we've seen. Like, I feel like we've seen like kind of weird slimy language like that before, or it got filed and he actually had to stay away from the person. I'm trying to figure out which one. Okay, wow, this has been going on since 2020. So so this has actually been in progress since 2020. According to Orange County Super, Roiland pleaded not guilty to both charges in 2020. Since then, the case has been the subject of more than a dozen hearings. Let's see. He was arrested and released on $50,000 bond in 2020 and arraigned in 2020. Later in 2020, a protective order filed document the court minutes said that Roiland is not to harass, threaten, or well, cannot go in front of the person in the order, which is okay. I'm just trying to figure out details of the case, including police body camera footage, police reports, abuse investigations, medical reports, and recordings of interviews, are currently being withheld from public under a protective order. The affidavit. Okay, I can't believe this is going on for so long. Yeah, I mean, it's for me, it's like, it's still in court, so I don't know. Okay.
But yeah, what I'm trying to say here is just be prepared for a lot of your favorites, celebrities, actors, curators, to just not really be who you have the perception of.
Oh yeah, well, you know what, you're my favorite actor, celebrity person, so I'm ready for you to do something sussy. All right, I'm just kidding. That was a complete joke.
To actually be. So yes, my friends, of course, innocent until proven guilty. And in fact, in this video, there are going to be a lot of sensitive things that we cover, and I'm going to have to like kind of censor a lot of words given the nature of the topics that we're going to be going into now. And the reason I'm doing that is mainly because, as I said previously, YouTube have been very hostile with their striking system recently, and I want this video to actually get viewed by people. So I'm kind of going to need you to put two and two together with what I'm saying. But I feel like the information that we're now about to go into is, well, it's pretty clear what I'm saying. Pretty much there is another allegation out there that Justin Roiland helped Alex Hirsch hook up with teen girls, and this allegation goes all the way back to 2020. And this allegation...
Wow, what?
Alex Hirsch...
What is this? Did we confirm that this is actually from Justin Roiland? Justin helps Alex. Who's Alex Hirsch? These are just so many different people. Hirsch. Okay. I don't know who this is. Okay. I don't know. He's a guy. He's 37. Wow. A lot of these guys are okay. Let's see. Honestly, I'm really good at Morty's becoming the target. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. What's wrong with a weird date? Haha. It wouldn't be weird unless we were awkward about it. It wouldn't be fun. Don't be a homo unless you are a homo. It's totally okay if you are. I have some girlfriends you might like. Well, what does this show? Is there more?
Hirsch hook up with teen girls, and this allegation goes all the way back to 2020. And this allegation does feature a lot of
Was there more? Well, how do we know that that's a teen girl? I'm just curious. It was just a Facebook screenshot.
DMs which do seemingly appear to be Justin Roiland. And of course, these could be fabricated, but allow me to, go through them and say what I have to say first before we actually build our opinions. But I also want to say, with Alex, who is mentioned in these DMs, it could really be
I'm going to be Vegas in the 1922nd.
A case of Roiland has only brought this person into it because
Invited me a singles party, want to hook up with me, Alex Hirsch, when I was barely about to turn 18. I mean, when I was barely about to turn 18, and I made a vague post about it. Okay, were they 18 or not? That says that they might not have been, but I hate the language. You should have said when I was still 17. But some people will be like, I just turned 18 11 months ago, and they were trying to. I'm just very apprehensive about Twitter stuff,
because he wants to use Alex as a
hey, please don't tumble the stuff about Alex. It makes him look like a sleaze, and he didn't even know I was trying to play matchmaker. Can you take that stuff down?
fall guy. Now, I don't actually know that, but based on everything that I've gone through and researched, this Alex guy really doesn't come up much, and I really think it wouldn't be fair to necessarily throw this guy under the bus. But alas, it is still very sus, but I do think this could easily be a case of Justin is seemingly using somebody's name to get what he wants, and in this case, these things are, well, as I said, very, very sus. Now, in these rather weird, peculiar, alleged DMs, Justin is seemingly asking for a weird date, and in fact, he clarifies that a date wouldn't actually be weird unless they were awkward about it. And then he also adds the very lovely line of, don't be a homo, and...
Hey, based, am I right?
Sorry, I've apparently broken... Well, I'm bi, and I think, look, I don't think he's interested in me. Not because I'm bisexual, but mainly because I'm above the age of 18.
I would like to see how do we know that girl wasn't 18, or I'm just saying.
But yeah, in the DM, he also seemingly...
Or how do we know that girl, was like under 18?
Then it goes on to ask the same person to remove the DMs because, he obviously realized that, these things necessarily don't look exactly good on somebody to be asking someone who is not only just a fan, but a young fan.
Who cares if they're a fan? I'm tired of, the fan discourse. I think we need to, stop it. Being a fan isn't a mental disorder. If you're a fan of somebody and you want to sleep with them, that's on you. You're an adult. Well, if you're an adult. Them potentially being a minor, that's a different conversation. I just need to see where that is. But we need to stop with the you can't talk to your fans stuff because it's silly. It takes autonomy away from people's fans. Let's just say somebody would I'm 32 and let's say I wasn't married and I was talking to a fucking 28-year-old. I'm not abusing that person. In the same way where I'm attracted to them, they would be attracted to me. If part of that attraction is because I'm popular and have money or whatever, okay, that's good for me. That's how the world works. That doesn't mean I'm not, as long as I'm not abusing my power dynamic by threatening to build their career or take it away, or if they do or don't sleep with me, it doesn't really matter. We need to get rid of the fan discourse because it's actually just kind of annoying at this point, and it just decimates actual survivors of situations. It just ends up it just decimates survivors, people who are actually people who've actually been abused. So, but if they're underage, that's different. I don't know though. I would like to see that, with a proof of that.
It really never looks good to try and hook up with these people, but this is seemingly a reoccurring alleged pattern with this man. And yes, I completely understand that these DMs could absolutely be fabricated, and some person who just doesn't like this bloke could...
Yeah, also having confirmed their age. We need to see an actual age on paper,
come out and make him and spread him all over the internet. I could take that into consideration, and I very much am. The only problem is there are more than one set of leaked DMs with Justin Roiland and, once again, alleged teen girls. Because, yes.
Yeah, but the alleged... This one's a little more promising. It says, would you do a video games review and stuff like that? I bet you do good. Yeah, just playing games and shit. Then once you turn 18, you start cam. That's definitely gross. Why are you such a jailbait? Oh, yeah, that's real. That's definitely inappropriate. Can we confirm that this is actually him? Can they like screen record their screen and tell us?
DMs were posted of Justin speaking in pretty much the exact same demeanor as he was in the previous DMs I showed you. And again, the phrase
I want to be in your life jailbait, so I can't help you be a homo. What's up with the homos?
of not being a
I'm Atlanta drunk. Oh, I guess he's drunk.
homo
Well,
shows
still not appropriate.
once again, and also multiple times of calling the person he's speaking to jailbait. And my friends, that jailbait was apparently a 16-year-old girl.
Yeah, listen, if that's real, that's definitely gross. My thing is like, can that person like screen record them and like click on it and confirm it's Justin? That's the expectation that I would have. I don't like. I think that we're kind of beyond like screenshots for the most part, but.
But also, it gets worse because this same 16-year-old girl actually posted a photo of them at the time. And I'm not going to show the photo in this video, but based on my own perspective, I've looked at the photo when they were 16 years old. And my friends, not only is it absolutely horrific that a man would speak to a 16-year-old in this sort of mannerisms that he's saying in these DMs, obviously, it's absolutely disgusting if these DMs are real. But also, the girl, while 16, yes, it is terrible, she also looks very, very young. And I know 16 is young, but she looks like 12 years old in this photo.
I get what he's saying. Like, there are people who look younger and older. That doesn't mean that you're allowed to sleep with somebody because they look older, but I get what he's saying.
Like, not only is it wrong for the obvious reasons, but it gets even more sick and twisted because obviously he's used the phrase jailbait here, and it's like he knows in these DMs, like, if these DMs are real, he knows.
Who's this person? Like, do we have their Facebook? I just don't know.
That this is wrong, because the phrase jailbait obviously represents so many horrific things. My friends, if a 30-something-year-old man is calling you jailbait where you are below the ages of 18, run. Just run, because obviously you've got a big old creepy freak on your case. And yes, my friends, this could obviously be another case of fabricated DMs, and it's just sheer coincidence, but then I move us on to the man's Reddit account, because of course, Justin Roiland has a Reddit account. I'm not really shocked that the co-creator of Rick and Morty has a Reddit account, but he has a Reddit account, and that Reddit account entails some suspicious posts. Basically, there was a thread of a Rick and Morty fan saying that it would be so fun.
I'm just trying to understand. I'm trying to find more to this. 2011? Wait, one of these was from 10 years ago? That's what I'm seeing here. This one says it's from 2011. He's 42, so he would have been like 30-something at the time. Yeah, that there's 17. That's still inappropriate. Right? 2011, 2020. Maybe he would have been 29. Yeah, he's like 30. Yeah, okay. I'm just trying to suss everything out.
To sit down with a bunch of friends and just come up with some really weird things to make an episode about on Rick and Morty. And you know, Justin, the good old bloke he is, responded with a very normal DM where he said very normal things, such as this. Come on, Ryan, tell them about the trip to Death Valley together. Underage girls, hiking whilst intoxicated, peeing in the guest center room, clogging the bathroom toilet, and flooding the hotel room. Name me
What is this?
two
Is this actually confirmed, Tim?
people who went for a wild ride like that who aren't the best of friends. And of course, yes, that's absolutely a very weird thing to say. And it was back on the time of the internet of where people seemingly didn't realize that the internet is forever and these posts are going to be backlogged forever. And I know what a lot of people will do, and including myself. Honestly, if I saw these things from face value, I would usually presume that, you know, this is an edgy guy who makes a lot of edgy jokes and he's
is that confirmed his account?
got an edgy past. And yeah, I can understand, you know, the social climate of the world back in 2015 was very different to what it is now. But, you know, there's a lot of things, my friend. There's a lot of patterns.
Well, that's true, though. I mean, like, if he's living in an area where, like, 16 or 17 is legal, and especially if it's 10 years ago where the social conversation was nowhere near it is today, then maybe I could see more of why he says stuff like that. Still think it's gross and inappropriate. Sure.
As I will keep saying throughout this video, which do kind of add up and make things seem not really merely a coincidence, such as this. I found some archived tweets which have now actually been deleted, and probably for good reason too, but you know, somebody did put them on the Internet Archives. But basically, these tweets were a conversation between some Rick and Morty fans and Justin Roiland, where some fans were concerned that people out there were making a lot of creepy art of Rick and Morty. Of course, in this fictional universe, Rick is a grown adult, an old adult, and Morty is, yes, a minor.
Bro, listen, I don't... The internet's gonna do some weird shit. What is the creator of Rick and Morty supposed to do, bro? That's fucking gross, though. They got fucking Rick's, just fucking Morty's asshole. That's horrible.
Yes, my friends. Obviously, it's a little bit different to real life because, yeah, they are fictional characters. But the response to these concerns.
Plus, Morty is very mature for his age. Okay, I don't know a lot of young people who go out and do adventures with their grandfather and do drugs. Okay, and technology.
To me, I don't know. Just let me know what you think. Let me just read it to you. Basically, Justin Roiland responds saying that in many realities, Morty and Rick are in a healthy romantic relationship. Did he?
I'm sure he's kidding.
Just say healthy.
That's just dumb.
Yes, he did. Please help. And
Maybe.
yeah, I know these are fictional characters, but did he really need to say healthy? And then when you go even further, somebody basically says, you just gave nonces something to defend themselves with, and he then replied with saying, Tumblr's got a Tumblr. And that's...
He's kind of right. This part I don't really care about. Like, it's fucking, I don't really care about fucking cartoons.
quite ironic, because half of the allegations out there about Justin Roiland
Summer's mom can get it, though, or Morty's mom can get it, though. She's pretty hot.
do actually originate from Tumblr. But yeah, this archived Twitter thread, it is just very, very weird, because yeah, it is people just concerned with, you know, the P of in the fandom.
What is he supposed to do about it? Like, sue them? I don't know.
And when just outright asked for clarification if Justin Roiland supports these things in the fandom, Justin replied saying he supports comedy and freedom of speech.
Oh, okay. Whatever.
Do you support nonsense, Ashley? I hope not.
No, but, I mean, listen, I don't know what to tell you. It's weird, but I don't care. It's fucking, it's cartoon porn. I don't care, okay? And
look, I'm a believer in freedom of speech and comedy, but, you know, I don't really think drawing young characters, I mean minor characters, with old men in art is really freedom of speech.
It's kind of funny, though. Not because they're not real. That's why it's funny. If it was like drawing like real kids, that'd be fucked up. But it's like just Rick and Morty. It's just so disgusting. It's funny to me. Like, how absurd. Like, who does that? I could not imagine somebody spending like 10 hours on like a fucking super well colorized photo of like fucking Rick plowing Morty's asshole. It's just, why would you do that? It's so, like, the fact that you would take that much time to do that is just fucking insane to me. You're a weirdo.
Just think that's pretty grim, to be honest with you. I don't think freedom of speech really comes into this, and this is something a lot of people
Well, it may not come into that, but it certainly comes into Morty's asshole.
do when, you know, they get called out for, you know, something like this, something horrific. It's like, oh, no, I support freedom of speech. But it's like, mate, you could just say, yeah, that is weird, isn't it? You could just say that, but no, you had to go on this weird freedom of speech arc where you also said that they're in healthy romantic and again, they're fictional characters, my friends, but just add in all the context of everything today. Like, you can make jokes, obviously. In my recent podcast, I'd made jokes about Harry Potter, but even in those jokes, I clarified that we were creating our own headcanon where everybody in the universe was around the ages of 20 to 60. No.
Well, in Justin's defense, he said that they were in a healthy, there are universes where they're in a healthy relationship, which implied that he would be of age in that universe, and they wouldn't even be grandpa or whatever. I don't know. Who cares?
Nobody could go to Hogwarts if they were below 18, and we made jokes out of it, because I think at that point, yeah, you know, you're establishing rules and laws and...
Who cares, bro? I was the age of the Hogwarts characters. If I want to say I thought Hermione was hot, I was her age back when she was in that, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think so now, but like, who cares? I grew up like Harry Potter. I'm the same age. I think that they're older than me. How old is Harry Potter? Like, these people are older than me. You know what I mean? So I don't feel the need to like specifically, fuck. What the fuck is that? Oh, Emma Watson age. How old is she? 32. I'm 32. So if I thought like, oh wow, she was hot, I was her age when I thought she was hot. Okay, now I'm an adult, and obviously I don't think so anymore. Rewatching it, but like, who cares? You know?
Stuff. And like, I get it. Jokes are jokes, and people are going to be very messed up. And usually, if this was a one-off thing, I would, you know, look past it and think edgy guy, edgy humor. But I don't know, boys.
Would you?
I don't know. I just think the context of these tweets change, as I said, based on everything today. But
I want to reread what this said. Come on, Ryan, tell him about our trip to Death Valley together. Underage girls hiking while intoxicated, peeing from the... It's a little sussy.
Just think the context of these tweets change, as I said, based on everything today. But ladies and gentlemen, what makes this story a little bit more strange is I thought this whole thing only originated this week. I thought that the public had only heard about these things in the last few days.
Yeah,
but it turns out that isn't the case, and that's where I actually need to bring in, well... NFTs. Don't worry, I'm not going to try and sell you an NFT of Logan Paul mashed up with a blobfish. I'm not doing...
Okay, sell me an NFT of fucking Rick slamming Morty's asshole.
that today, but yeah, basically, the NFT community, as controversial as they are, have been at war with Justin Roiland, actually, in the past. Because by doing an advanced Twitter search of Justin and a few keywords before the events of this week, I managed to find that in November of 2022, a lot of people in the NFT community were actually at war with Justin. They were basically calling this man out for everything that we are pretty much speaking about in this video today. There were a whole plethora of posts...
The NFT community? Wow, NFT bros seem like real nice guys.
...out there saying that this guy is pretty much a horrible person and an outright criminal, and this was mainly because of a lot of, once again, more resurfaced resurfaced post from Justin Roiland. In this case, it actually came from the man's website, where a lot of pictures and videos came out, which are just very, very disturbing. I have seen a lot of content that the man's put on there, and of course, it's all art of fictional characters, but it doesn't really make it any less disturbing, especially when you kind of add in the context of everything we've spoken about today. And this was mainly because of a lot of, once again, more resurfaced post from Justin Roiland. In this case, it actually came from the man's website, where a lot of pictures and videos came out, which are just very, very disturbing. I have seen a lot of content that the man's put on there, and of course, it's all art of fictional characters, but it doesn't really make it any less disturbing.
Well, it does if it's not actual people. But what is it that he's doing?
Especially when you kind of add in the context.
What is he basically making shade-based post or whatever it's called?
Of everything we've spoken about today. There was a post here of somebody who I guess is meant to be a kid saying that after all these years, I thought it was my real mom and dad molest.
What? Oh, yeah, it sounds like really weird, edgy humor. Yeah, and all these years, I thought it was my real mom and dad that were molesting me. Oh, so I guess it was his adopted
saying
parents
that after all these years, I thought it was my real mom and dad molest. And then there was another post of one character, which is clearly Rick and Morty doing really, really... And I'm not going to show you the details, but they're doing some messed up stuff. And it gets even more messed up when there is a clear image that he's created, or it's just on his website, of Rick and Morty doing things, which, yeah.
Are they fucking? What are they doing? What are they doing? Heroin? What's happening, Amber? I need to know. I need to know. What's his website? I need to look at it. I mean, like, what? I don't know what's happening. You're being so indirect.
Again, people are going to make the argument, oh, it's a fictional character. I don't really understand how many arguments you need to make to defend a guy from these things. Like, it's not a typical argument you would make defending your friend. Like, usually, you know, your friend gets a little bit drunk, he says some silly things, but this isn't that. You're defending, like, somebody who's actually making, like, cartoon nonsense. These allegations don't just go back to 2022, 2020. They even stretch back to 2018, where some people were again calling out Justin Roiland for...
What images are you talking about? Like videos? Like, what's the video? I have to look
that in videos and pieces of media on his old website.
I get he can't because of YouTube, but I have to see it, like, because I don't know what he's really talking about. Because I need to kind of like be a little more explicitly understand what he's talking about.
And there was one video in particular which I'm not going to play, but I will say some of the things that happen in this video. Pretty much, there was a character having certain fantasies about younger people, and there are things which happen. Yeah, you kind of get where I'm going with this. The character is having fantasies, and the fantasies are drawn, and it ends up, which with a bit I will show you, with the character saying probably the most ironic thing I think I've heard in recent memory.
Oh my God, I can't keep this up forever. My mind is so distracted. Oh, the police are going to catch up with me eventually. They'll lock me up.
My friends, I don't really think this aged particularly... I mean, I don't think you can say it aged particularly well when it came out, but, you know, it's not aged too well. Like, based on everything that's happened in the last few weeks, yeah, it's not looking good. And regardless of that ending, it's just insanely grim. And as I keep saying, kind of builds a picture to, you know, everything that we've been speaking about. But my friends, it's not just Justin Roiland. It's also his other co-creator, Dan.
I don't know. Like, I just don't know what I know. I understand why he's like censoring stuff. I just don't know how am I supposed to interact with it if I can't see this stuff explicitly, you know? And then if he has like 2 sussy videos out of like, let's say he made like 40 over the years, like, would that change our perspective of him a little bit? Like, oh, maybe he was making like an edgy pedophile joke or something. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying, especially if this was 10 or 15 years ago. A lot of these date back to like the early 2010s. How much do I care? How much do we actually care about it? I'm just trying to find it. I can't find this stuff.
Harmon, as there were posts out there of Dan doing like a short...
What is he doing?
Other co-creator, Dan Harmon, as there were posts...
Rick and Morty creator deletes Twitter account after his 2009 fake baby something goes viral. In a video, Harmon plays a something who climbs through a window, pulls down his underwear, and rubs something in a plastic baby doll. Okay. 2009, probably edgy humor.
Out there of Dan doing like a short film of where he would get a plastic baby and...
Yeah, he would rub his penis against a plastic baby. Very weird, but I don't care. I'm not. It's inappropriate, but I mean, you know, it's probably a really weird, gross joke. I don't know. I don't have to like the humor. I mean, it's also from like 15 years ago. It's from 2009, right? That's 15 years ago? Fuck. More like 14? Damn. Time's going.
You can kind of get what, do you remember like a lot of old Shane Dawson videos which got exposed? It's like that, but
yeah, I also don't care about those, to be absolutely honest with you. Like, inappropriate, but he changed his content before people called him out. And people thought it was funny. And the same people who are calling him out now saying he's a horrible person are the same people who used to watch his old content. You could just be like, yeah, I didn't like his old stuff. He changed. He used to be super edgy. Me too. I'm not trying to be I talk about it. Like, I'm not proud of the shit I used to say when I played video games and stuff. Like, I said some raunchy shit. I'm not proud of myself. I'm not that person anymore, though, If he's actually talking to kids, that's one thing. But so far, we have a lot of allegations that aren't substantiated and some old... And we have a comedic writer making jokes that are edgy, then by today's standards inappropriate. By like yesterday's standards would be more considered more appropriate. So I don't really care that much.
But honestly, even worse. It's just beyond levels of messed up. And this actually in the past has led to a lot of posts of people calling that guy everything that Justin Roiland is now being called. And you have to look at the fact that these guys have literally made a show together, and bad people always mix themselves in with bad people. I know that sounds a bit obvious to say, but I'm really not shocked that somebody like Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland created an entire show together. And you also have to add in the fact that Dan was also accused of pretty much harassing writing staff.
Dan Harmon acknowledges that he sexually harassed community writer Megan Gans in 7-minute podcast monologue. I crushed on her and resented her for not reciprocating, and the entire time I was the one writing her paychecks. Yeah, that's really shitty. It's a good thing that he's acknowledging that he was really shitty to her. I guess. I mean, I don't have to like that. That like we're introducing like a power dynamic as well. He crushed on her and she didn't reciprocate, and the entire time I was the one writing her paycheck, so he resented her for not wanting to fuck him, which is like really scummy. But it's good that he acknowledged that was really shitty and hopefully didn't fire her. It doesn't seem like he fired her. I mean, that's not good, but I mean, that's pretty much the central focus of the conversation around power dynamics and putting people into situations where they feel like they can't say no. And God bless her for saying no to him. So good for her. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it reads to me as like a bit of an apology. It doesn't make it right. I'm just,
And people have said that the writing staff in this situation has now forgiven Dan, but I'm pretty sure...
Oh, well, if they forgave him, then like that's who the fuck are we? Like, to say anything? Who cares? Okay. I mean, not that who cares, but like if the staff is forgiving him, that's more between them than us. So
that doesn't really kind of wipe out the history.
It does kind of wipe it out. If the person forgave Dan, that I would assume, like they've reconciled it in some capacity. Like, it's really none of my fucking business. So
happened. It shows this guy's character and nature.
It shows that he apologized for something that he did. It was really shitty.
Clearly a very, very odd bloke. But fellas, with everything we've gone through today,
not really that odd. Honestly, it's unfortunately super normal what he did. That's why I'm surprised he even fucking apologized.
You're probably thinking, wow, this guy,
But it seems like it was around the time of the Me Too movement. So God bless the Me Too movement. Am I right? Unironically, not making a joke.
Look at Saturn super chatted $5. My friend just watched a 2000s comedy movie where a guy gets off a horse. Edgy humor used to be weird, man.
Yeah, it did used to be weird. That's definitely true. Oh, Jesus, got off a horse, huh? Wow. Jesus, that's terrible. How'd he get on the horse? You know what I mean? You guys remember Mr. Hands? Don't look it up.
He's pretty terrible, and I'd be, I'm inclined to agree with you. Now, some of you maybe be old Rick and Morty diehard fans. You've got Pickle Rick pictures all over your walls, and you just can't.
I mean, the show is decent. I just think that like the culture is cringe, but I mean that has nothing to do with my attitude on the situation.
Can't handle it. And with that, your bias comes in. It stops you from thinking certain things which you just don't want to believe, that the creator of Pickle Rick, your god, may not be a good bloke. And with that, I have left the worst until last. Two specific clips that I'm going to play you right now. And I do want to give you the context that in most of these clips, well, all of these clips, Justin Roiland is above the age of 30. Without further ado,
let's see what we got here.
For that, dude, Justin's advice for me to get a girl kind of worked out, but you should put a warning.
The full context is Justin Roiland defending the idea of finding a 14-year-old hypothetically attractive while ranting against the idea of Chris Hansen and To Catch a Predator because those girls are fully developed. Not sure. Jesus Christ. Wow, Justin, what are you doing?
Advice.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. You should put a warning. Only lasts 48 hours.
Oh.
Because the girl I said had a nice... Do you remember when you gave us advice?
So tell her she's got a nice... Be a man.
This is the one that everybody thinks was gay, right? At school.
Be confident. Act like you know you're fucking awesome. And and if you're like in 4th grade, these girls, they're gonna be blindsided.
4th grade.
If I could go back and be a 4th grade kid right now with what I know, oh my god, I'd be like walking around. I'd be getting laid every day.
Gross.
And it would be grade. And it would be legal too because I would be a little kid.
And he's been practicing on a 4th grader now, so he knows how to do it.
No, she's 22.
She does have braces though.
I love it. I love the braces. It's hot.
Okay. It says. Anyways, she said she had a nice.
I'm not pedophile, though. All right, Jesus Christ.
Didn't really
I'm
want.
not attracted to fucking little kid bodies. I like women body. Look, I'll say, look, a 14-year-old that looks like she's 18 and like big titties and
yeah.
like, of course I'm attracted to that.
Ooh, yeah.
That's why this whole Chris Hansen thing. I'm like, F you, man. These girls are like, they're fully developed and they're like
Okay.
talking online. I want you to.
I mean, the girls that old men or women pretend to be to lure the files into the house.
Yeah, but they would email photos of what they look like, and the ones I saw were like, that girl's fully developed woman. Yeah, like, come on, back in like, how are we that? Like, as a race, are we that crazy? Like, when we were 100 years ago, it was little 13-year-old girls, if they were built like a woman, they were...
super chatted $5. Can I expect flowers and chocolates for my 2-year anniversary watching you that's approaching?
Yeah, if you want to go to the store and buy them yourself. Sure.
Getting married and having kids. And now we're going to be all precious about it. I keep using the word precious today. That's the word of the week.
Which is a movie about a child.
Precious.
Right?
Your Down syndrome baby.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyways, I'm not a pedophile, though. I do
I'm
follow...
a pedophile.
I wait till they're 18 if I'm ever so lucky as to have the
Now, my friends, I like to pride myself.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely suspicious. He's saying a lot of raunchy shit there. What it sounds like he's saying is that I'd never fuck a kid, but I find some of them attractive. Yeah, definitely sussy. You know, if he is messaging 17-year-olds, that definitely contributes to, unfortunately, whether you want to hear this or not, that's somewhat of a typical mindset of somebody his age. Like, he's in his 40s now. I've heard it a lot before when I was younger. A lot of guys saying this kind of shit. It's not good. It's a lot more normal. It seems like he's talking about it in like a humorous way where he's like probably like half kidding, you know how it is, but he's still like half telling the truth. Yeah, this mindset's unfortunately a little more normal. Not happy about it, but I also acknowledge that he's not exactly an outlier. Unfortunately, it's kind of the unfortunate reality.
Myself on my ability to judge somebody's character, and I'm just starting to think that, maybe this isn't all a coincidence. Maybe there's something weird going on here. Now, as I said, there is more than one clip. There is, in fact, two. And it does just keep on getting worse. So, listen to this as well.
I think they did like a test where like they found that like a lot of men would get like a penile response to younger girls that were like underage. Like I think it was like 20% of men. It was pretty gross. But so the idea of like socializing people away from wanting to interact with girls under the age of 18 comes from like a mental health perspective. Like if we didn't have these rules, unfortunately, a lot of guys would be fucking little kids that like looked developed. I've heard that kind of rhetoric before. It's gross. It's just good that we have like robust laws to protect children and like have an understanding. You know what I mean? Like if you're somebody who looks at like a 16-year-old girl and you're like, wow, that's attractive, but then you find out they're 16, that should make you feel disgusted with yourself. If you didn't know their age and they looked developed beforehand, like, okay, whatever, I get why you might have been attracted to them or whatever. But the idea is like, oh, well, you know that they're a kid. They couldn't properly consent. Like, it's dangerous if you interact with them. That's kind of how it's supposed to... That's how the situation is kind of supposed to work out. It's gross, but that's how it's supposed to, like, operate. As long as he's not fucking the kids, that's where I come from. I still think it's not good. Obviously. But
Hey, GVP! I'm so glad there was finally an episode last week, but I know you guys are busy. And Ryan, I'm sorry about your breakup, but if you're willing to wait 2 years, I'll be your new girlfriend. Love you guys.
Oh, she's sweet
Is she-
16.
How old is she?
Lord.
How old is
She's
she?
supposed to be 16.
Well,
Unless she's walking to LA
now,
by foot, and it's going to take 2 years.
Can I just say that,
Jesus Christ.
send some pictures. Because you could be like fat and gross.
Stop
She's
it.
got 2 years to shape up for me, Justin.
Okay, well, fine, but send some... There's nothing illegal about
Listen,
a 16-year-old
miss.
sending perfectly normal clothed images to
but
Ryan.
there's definitely something illegal about me receiving
Illegal?
them. Now that the context is that
Illegal? I question that.
I'm not interested if you are... I'm not interested in if you're 18, frankly.
You know what?
However, that's me saying that now. In 2 years, I could be a real creepball.
No, listen, here's the thing, girl. Send Ryan
No,
some
do
personal
not
images.
Stop it.
Just make sure that they're legal.
First
Don't
of all,
be
you're
nude, and
not
fine.
interested. You're not going to be interested in me.
No, she'll love you, and she'll cook for you, and clean, and bear your goddamn children, you son of a...
I have to reiterate again, my friend.
Yeah, it sounds like some pretty edgy jokes here. I mean, the joke there is that, oh, I'm a 16-year-old, I want to date you or whatever. And he's like, oh, maybe. Then they're joking around about maybe 2 years. And he's like, oh, but she might be fat and ugly. So, inappropriate jokes, but I don't think that they present like actual, like, predatory behavior. I think that it's just edgy jokes.
This man is 31 years of age in this clip. I'm not even 31. I'm not even close to 31. I'm not. Don't say I am. I'm not. And mate, come on. With everything that we have gone through today, I'm really, really struggling to see any.
If he was 31 years old, that was like 10 years ago, right? Again, those things were more acceptable back then. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just telling you that like we live in a very different time.
Form of defense for this. Like, his attorneys can say what they want about clearing this man's name. How can you clear everything? It's going to be a big cleaning job. You can say that twice, because my lord, there is just so much stuff in this horrific pile of shit. My friends, this is genuinely one of the most disturbing deep dives I've ever made on my channel, and I cover things like this quite a lot, but it's a bit more disturbing when you realize how much this guy has been celebrated over the years. Now, I'm not necessarily blaming people that love this guy. Obviously, you don't really know these things, like, very obviously without doing your research, and then you do your research and it just gets... I feel like I need to get therapy after this. I feel like I genuinely need some form of therapy. But alas, yes, it's not your fault if you didn't know about these things. Obviously, I'm not blaming you for that. But also, there are people in the fandom that have been being very weird about these whole things. Just, I guess, breaking down the fact that they're no longer going to get Rick and Morty content. And it's like, boys, just go watch other cartoons. Like, I know, you know, it may...
Hey, listen, Rick and Morty's a classic, brother. You know,
be a bit shit that, yeah, your favorite cartoon's no longer going to be made. Although, knowing certain companies' histories, they probably will give another season. But alas, you know, if it's never made again, lads, there are other cartoons out there. Just realize that there are potential victims in this situation. And I think the fact that Rick and Morty...
For sure, there are potential victims, and then we should wait and see if they actually are victims.
could possibly end should probably be a worry which we kind of think about, you know, like a year down the line. Like, we don't really need to cover that, lads. So all I'm going to say is, please, for the love of God, just... stop being weird. Now, fellas, to kind of come to some form of conclusion to this video, I really don't know what we can say. I know the phrase, there's no smoke without fire, is used in a lot of these sort of situations, but honestly, I don't really think there's
I haven't really heard that phrase in a while.
a regular fire here. And if there is, it's more of a forest fire. Like, the Amazon forest is burning down. Like the clips I played you just now, I really don't think I actually needed to go through anything. Those clips alone are just absolutely incriminating. But what I've been
Reminded me of like Howard Stern from like 10 years ago, you know what I mean? Like, that was where society was at back then. So
saying throughout this video is, yes, there are ways you can defend certain things. You can say, oh, there's context to this. Oh, this is a joke. Oh, there's this. But then when you start to add everything together, you add the DMs in with everything. You add in the old podcast clips, everything. You add in all of the current charges and everything going on in the world right now, and all of the actions and interactions he's had with people over the course of time in the Hollywood industry. It really only, in my opinion, paints a picture of somebody who is absolutely terrible. I don't really think there's anything more I can say other than Justin Roiland is an awful person. Regardless of if this guy is found guilty or not, I really don't think that I personally need a guilty charge to say that, hey, this guy is just not somebody that I want to support in the future.
it's fair. Yeah. Me personally, I don't know. Not ideal, but I'm also older, so I kind of understand like that mindset, and I understand like evolving as a person and like changing and shit like that. Because like my humor aligned more along with that 10 years ago too, and now it doesn't. You know, a lot of it's because of like the social conversations we've been having. So it's like, okay, I get it. You know,
because as I said earlier in this video, yes, he probably will actually get off. I would not be surprised. The guy's a multi-millionaire. We've seen so many powerful people get away with so much stuff, and I really wouldn't be shocked if this was another case of that. But to end this video, I will say, this situation is so much worse than I originally thought it was, and I'm genuinely shocked that half this stuff isn't being reported in the actual media. I think it might after something like this, and I think right now all I can say to end this video is, could you please share this? I feel like there's some very important information that needs to get out there, and you don't even necessarily need to subscribe. I mean, if you want to, that would be great, but honestly, just get the news out there about everything I've shown you today, because I think it's deeply concerning that this really has all been hidden away from us for years and years. But that is the ending of the video. Thank you so much for coming along. I understand this video was very depressing and very mundane, and I will try and make my video, next one, a lot more entertaining and fun and jokey. It's kind of hard to do that in a video where we are dealing with something as sensitive as the things we're dealing with today. But yeah, I would really appreciate if you let me know your thoughts down below. Please engage with this video. It's so important to get this video out there. Like, comment your opinions, comment anything, comment beans. Please subscribe. And also, if you want to subscribe to my other content out there, I do have a Buddies podcast, which will be the up next video. I would really appreciate it if you checked it out. And yeah, see you in the next video. I'm sorry this was so depressing, and peace out. And I'm sorry if I've ruined Rick and Morty for you. Bye-bye.
yeah. So listen, we'll separate the two things. For one, the whole like domestic abuse thing. If he goes to court and he's found innocent, well, you know, innocent until proven guilty. And if he's found guilty and does whatever time he's allotted to by the court, that's the whole point. We live in a rehabilitation culture where people will be like, hey, murderers should be able to be rehabilitated. It's like, okay, what about somebody who's like who's like commits a domestic abuse situation? No, they need to be canceled forever. You know, it's one of those things where like it's not good, but that's the part that's supposed to be like what the law does for the most part, is catch people and like kind of reforms them. Unless, you know, for me, when it comes to like, you know, raping a kid, that's different. I don't think anybody should ever be forgiven, but I don't think it's quite that. When it comes to the stuff about like the young people, a lot. I don't know what's happening. None of like it. There was no confirmation of anything, so I'm not even gonna really consider it. A lot of the jokes were like very edgy on like the podcast. I don't really care about that. When it comes to those screenshots, one of the girls kind of insinuated that they were 18. And like I would have needed to just for them to show a date of birth or something. If they don't want to do that, I get it. But at the same time, I'm not going to pretend that it's real if we don't know what's going on. So, you know, that's kind of where I'm at.
I want Papa Gut to pee on my face, but just as a friend. There's nothing weird about that. I want him to pee on my face.